Should I do that?
Okay, leave those people in the waiting room.
Right. Should I do this or no?
Yeah, sure. So you can go log the web, you can go log
Amen.
the laptop in. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
And then they'll go in and then we'll go into the waiting room and we'll adjust the laptop in.
Okay.
Gotta be this one.
Legal, but feeling about that, but just a question for you, Mayor. Yeah, a couple of questions. We still need some semblance of security from Sunday to Tuesday. Because people are gonna be walking across the bridge.
You gotta go through there. I'm not gonna have 5, 6 guys.
Well, I know that, but I mean, I think that should be approaching, so they should be there.
The bridge is gonna be shut off. We have to have somebody.
Because if you use the road, and we gotta call here to call there, you don't have anybody downtown. You know, just a thought, and, you know. Who calls the shutdown? Shutdown of Pinellas that night,
It's in the contract, the chiefs.
the chiefs of police and fire, okay,
Yep.
all right, that's a guarantee, okay.
Yep, it's in the
Yep,
contract.
yep, okay. Just making sure, because they're the ones that know safe, not the canal, that's clean. Over there.
That's why we have the emergency services, police and fire. And then.
Everything's safe. Anything you want?
No, we have a meeting next Monday. There's nothing to bring up until spring because they want to get some heroes in that will pursue.
Okay, and you saw the fire chief appointed. The castle. For the traffic and safety.
Yes, it's other.
Did we resolve?
I didn't know Barbara was going that quick. I didn't realize that.
They resolve everything as far as taking down the sign by the old school.
That's what's passed, okay, you know, so I believe.
So do we
they-
do anything on that too?
Sure.
Or do we just said?
Any ideas of the sign by your house down?
We have to publish it.
Let's go on.
They should be.
They still have to paint the street.
Right, yeah, that's right, we're
Springtime, yeah.
springtime, yeah. That's basically it with that, you know.
And the one over by, no standing zone over by the tap that's done.
Well, this, one sign they put up is not the right position. Yeah, it's got to go a pole towards
Wrong way.
one way, it's going, no, the pole's got to, the sign's got to go one to the south of where it is now.
Weren't you looking into
What you measure
bikes?
twice.
E-bikes, that was, we're waiting on the state to move, you know.
I've got a meeting on Friday. I'll invite you. And I go around Remotely.
Yeah, because that and the chief plan says he needs back, you know, some backing regarding some different things to take care of, you know. That's,
Chris?
Talk with Jim about Canal Fest. So when I met with the mayor, one of our concerns was, when we met, was right after the New Orleans issue.
Yep.
And we have a plan, or at least he's gonna have a plan to work with the DPW and the police, cement barriers, the heavy duty water barriers, blocking off Niagara, blocking off Seymour. So not only are we gonna have that campus secure, it's gonna be for the cruise night, for the craft show. It's gonna have the barriers. We're at, I think Sunday, Monday, up until Tuesday, you're still gonna be able to drive on Main and make the left on Adam. And then once their Canal Fest permit kicks in, we're gonna close at Seymour. I'm sorry, close at Broad and Main. So you won't be able to get to Adam. We're gonna close off Adam and Niagara. So we had a barrier plan in effect also, not just saying it's closed, but protecting because we're worried about the whole New
Well,
Orleans.
that's based on that March Banks, or emergency services, contacted me, said that they come with these new barriers about this big, or heavier than the cement ones. He moved them, and he ordered, the Erie County's down, he ordered 16 of them for Canal.
Perfect.
So they're state of the art, but you got to bring one at a time by a tow motor. So I'll deliver them and we'll get them up with our tow motor, bring it to the station over there, we'll top them up, put them in, it's perfect.
And we're putting one on the sidewalks too.
They can't go.
So people can still walk around them, but you can't drive a vehicle
That's why
over the
we're going
sidewalk and around it. I
strong.
think that's what happened in New Orleans. The car was blocking. They went around the car on the sidewalk back down again. That's what we were worried about. So Mayor and I did have that discussion about safety and these barricades and stuff. So
excuse me, what's that, the 16 are just ours, right, not NT.
There'll be 16 out of Erie County.
it's on loan.
You're right.
Emergency management brings it in, they'll set us up.
I order it, you put it on order, and we got them first already.
We have a secure footprint. And then when it's over, they come, they take them, and they use them for another event, county fair or something of that nature.
They're free.
I got nothing.
Tom?
Oh, I think I'm very pleased to report, I think we have a resolution for half this.
So apparently, I talked to the congressman's office this week. Apparently, there's a signed contract between the town and the government, that the town is responsible for water mitigation for that entire area. They're aware, the town is aware of this, they just didn't bring it up. They have signed, they
I'll protect your butt.
Yep, and they're aware that it's their liability to,
He was
To
saying
make-
when Joe Eminger was at the thing, he knows that. A little.
it's been run up the pole in just about every facet of government. Congressman Kennedy's office ran it up. Army Corps of Engineers. Department of Energy and Conservation. And everybody that they've spoken to said this lies at the feet of the town. It's their project. It's their problem.
Can we get a copy of that?
I'm searching for it. They told me where to get it. It's been kind of a little bit of an internet search. So I'm not gonna spend too much more time finding it because they have it, so I can just get it from.
Just say foil it.
Yeah, get it from the congressman's office. But once that's done, I can present that to the residents who can then. They have everything to stand on with the signed
And
contract.
their attorney from town knows.
Correct. The entire town knows.
That's good, good, good.
So
How long ago?
it was signed. Well,
When they first started
when they
remediating.
first started it, because any water runoff, any maintenance, any issues that have come up with this from the end of the project on lays at the feet of the town.
And we have paper trails with history that people have problem.
Correct. So the good news is, hopefully, this year, they'll be able to use their guns. That's all. So thank you. Thank you for the.
That's what, Tiff County gets things done. It's a new really structure, what can I tell you?
It was a good move. It was just funny when they said that there is a signed contract.
You wouldn't mind by 30 years.
Yeah, so,
Hey, Mayor, what'd you do?
well, and that's, they said that apparently we were the only ones who were not aware of this now.
Sure. The liabilities on them.
Correct. So, good news for the folks on
It is, good news, right?
Great.
Mayor,
Mayor, I don't know a lot, what I got is, I'll announce it also at the summer time, but the winter time, I'll pass these around. Just to take a look at it, if you can make it down there, it's coming up next Saturday. We'll have sledding, we'll have, snow, building, snow angel, hockey skill competition, snowball throwing. Just captures like fun things for the kids, it's basically like 15 and under, you can let the kids have fun. It'd be a nice event, we did this years ago, and we decided to bring this back because we want to have fun with winter. And the only place that we sled is the hill over here, but we got ice pond that we filled and spent some money to fill it up, not all the way, but we spent, instead of 5 to 7, we spent about $2,500 to fill it up. And they're there every single night, projects planned, it's great to see that they're doing that. And so Dave and I, we agreed, let's do a winter fest, let's bring it back, so this is put together, Dave did a nice job putting this together. And we got some people that are willing to sell hot chocolate, it's gonna be cold, I hope. If it gets warm and there's no ice, we'll still have something, but we're gonna have a winter fest, and have a fun event over at Ice Pond. And we're bringing it back, we shouted to, the Buffalo News, the Chitro, over the, beach, just to say that, hey, look at, it's coming, let's have fun. So that's number one. Number two is I told you I was building this for the veterans, I thought it's important, we're gonna forget those veterans, once they take their name off, the plaque that's up there when you walk into the right, that's it. So this is something that we're building, and it's gonna be, 2022, 23, 24, we're gonna put 5, 6 years on one plaque. So their name will last and stay forever. And then when this one's done, and I'm gone, we'll do another one. I think it's important that the veterans see, we thank them that way, instead of just one night and it's on, I don't wanna do that. So I think it's a good gesture for us to keep their name alive out there. We're doing it, it's gonna happen. So just so you understand that somebody says, hey, that's pretty cool, Council, we're doing it. You can say, put your shoulders up and say, yeah, we are part of it, what we're doing. So it's just a good thing. Other than that, that's all I have. Oh, so I do have a safety meeting. I called, e-bikes, I called Ready Bikes, and I called Slow Spokes and another one. I got everybody coming in Friday, 1 o'clock for a meeting. What can we do to protect the people on the bike path? We've got Cranbrook, Young Street, and Fillmore. They're all clusters. And I'll tell you what, in my position, I don't wanna be the city mayor when somebody is crushed by a car. We did nothing about it. We're also gonna address speed, because if we get these bike places with us, we're talking hundreds of bikers. And we can get them to sign a petition and send it to the powers to be, maybe they can do something with Erie County, put some type of restrictions on speed limit for the e-bikes. So it's gonna be Friday. I got a couple of people that backed out already, but I got about 3 or 4 that are coming for sure. 2 of them are residents. Daryl Christman is one of them. He has some good ideas. And we're gonna make some good suggestions. And what we're gonna do is make good suggestions, intelligent ones, and send it to traffic and safety, and let them make a decision. So we'll follow the process. But it's happening. I promise you we get it done. So if anybody wants to come, you're more than welcome. 1 o'clock inside. Any questions? I'm sorry, what, pardon? Oh, you could make it on Friday. Yes, you just double check the calendar. You moved it to last minute. Yeah. The guy from e-bikes is coming. I can't make it on Friday. We moved it last second before I left. Baby shit, you know. So, you know what? Let's just see what we can do.
Anything else? All right, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn our informal, go into our formal, but I have a second. Second by Mr. Mylum, all those in favor?
Right? Are we doing the formal before 7 and then doing the public?
Yep.
at 7 o'clock?
Yep.
Right, okay, we would squeeze in.
That'd be my goal.
We need a motion.
I'm waiting for your motion.
All right.
Oh.
Sure. But that's for the public hearing. Yeah. All right, let's call the meeting of the City of Tonawanda Council to order. Ms. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Sheasley,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Rautenstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Here, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America. To the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, so, I'm assuming many of you are here for the, mayor's public hearing on the local law. That will begin around 7 PM. There is a sign-in sheet in the back. Please just sign in for that. Communications from the mayor have been ordered and filed. Communications from city officials and correspondents have also been ordered and filed. Common Council is not going into executive session. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor for the 2025 State of the City. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm not going to go through the whole state of the city. You can find a copy of the written one out front. It is being distributed by the clerk's office on my page and the city page. State of the City of Tonawanda is financially healthy because of the administration, along with the council, administrative assistants here in Stewart, in conjunction with all the department heads, have been fiscally responsible, pure and simple. It's important to remember that no tax dollars can be expended or appropriations from the general fund without a majority vote from the City Tonawanda Common Council. What does that mean? What it means is that the taxes can't be raised, the general fund cannot have money drawn from it, and collective bargaining agreements with the 4 unions cannot be ratified without council approval. This is a very important component of the city code of ordinances, the city charter, and ensures that no one person can authorize reckless spending of your tax dollar. Moving forward, because that's my mantra. My mantra is that I want to focus on moving forward. When I took office in 22, I had goals and visions on how to move the city forward. The biggest was to re-energize the city of Tonawanda to correct the mistakes from urban renewal and reestablish our great city as a destination instead of a drive-through to other communities. It is this passion and drive that my committee poured into an award-winning application that was submitted in 2024, was the $10 million New York State Downtown Revitalization, the DRI. This application outlines several public and private projects that will transform downtown Tonawanda. It will be vibrant. It will be walkable. And for those who journey in our community to enjoy our three beautiful waterways, the mighty Niagara River, Elka Creek, and the historic Erie Barge Canal, whose bicentennial is this coming summer. And the Twin Cities are celebrating the 200th year of the canal this year. I'm extremely honored to serve as the mayor of the city of Tonawanda. I am so excited for the future of our city. We are very fortunate to have so many exciting projects on the horizon that will populate the revenue column on the city's balance sheet. This did not happen by accident or luck. The city of Tonawanda's bright future is a result of hard work by a lot of people who generally care and put the best efforts of every day to build a bigger, better, and brighter city of Tonawanda, because this is where I want to live. And I strive every day to ensure that this is where all of you want to live. That's it, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public on the resolutions. For those that are joining us in person, please approach the microphone. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so. The comments on the resolutions. Ms. Deputy City Clerk, are there any residents joining us virtually wish to address the council on the resolutions?
Not at this time, Madam President.
Okay, hearing none, let's proceed. It's on the resolutions. Do you have a copy of your agenda? So the agenda's out front. Again, if you're here for the public hearing, that will begin at around 7 o'clock. Okay, hearing and seeing none, let's proceed.
Resolution number 1 by Councilmember Mylum.
Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Sheasley.
Resolved that the Common Council minutes from January 21st, 2025 be accepted as filed.
Comments or questions? Ms. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rautenstrau.
Aye.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye. Declare the resolution adopted. Mr. Sheasley.
Yeah, can we make a motion to waive reading of 2 through 5?
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Sheasley to waive readings of resolutions 2 through 5. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Mylum. Ms. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley.
Aye.
Fisher.
Nay.
Rautenstrau.
Nay.
Mylum.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye, declare the waiving of the readings of resolutions 2 through 5.
Resolution number 2 by the council, seconded by the council.
Comments or questions?
Comment.
Mr. Fisher.
I am glad to see that the city is honoring one of the contracts that was negotiated with one of the unions. That union being the Uniformed Professional Firefighters Local 859. The firefighters were able to negotiate this during their bargaining. And while the council does not negotiate in bargaining, it is our responsibility to vote on the final product. And that's what you are seeing tonight. While it's not a true healthcare plan, it will offer some type of healthcare benefit in retirement. And I'm glad to see that the firefighters were able to achieve this through collective bargaining. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any other comments? Ms. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Teasley.
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rounstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. Ms. Deputy City Clerk, for Resolution 3, I'd like to make an amendment. First paragraph should read, whereas the Common Council, COUNCIL. Do I have a second on that amendment? Seconded by Mr. Fisher. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now you can proceed, Ms. Deputy Clerk.
Resolution number 3 by Councilmember Fisher.
I'll second. Comments or questions?
I do.
Mr. Sheasley.
As you know, I've always been vocal in regards to this. All the money has gone over for the last 40 years over to North Tonawanda. I have figures that go back to 23, that Carousel Society got 53,000. Sweeney Hose got 36,000. The total we got for the year 2023 incentive that we received was 40,000. NT received $119,000. Okay, that's 23. The mayor threw some figures at me earlier today that for last year, just not even close to what they were projecting or whatever they had. I think if you've asked the prior chief and you asked the chief today, present chief, this is a bomb ready to explode. I don't care if it's 100 feet across the canal or our side or whatever, even though the rides are over there. Finally, after all these years, I commend you for trying to negotiate a contract. I just don't agree with it. I will never agree with it until we start splitting some of this money to the city of Tonawanda that we need desperately. And the cost that there's an over, even though we're gonna get 25,000, there's gonna be an over cost for us. It's gonna cost us taxpayers, more money. And we've gotta say, hey, enough's enough. Well, sometimes things run its course. Sometimes you have to close the page on some things and you move on to do something different. And I'm a firm believer. I was a first cop to work at Canal Fest. I worked it for 16 years. And it was just ugly, okay? Yeah, the crap is, excuse my French, the crap's over in NT now with the rides. They still have to get there. They're gonna come through here. They're gonna bust through here, everything else. It's just something that, you know, costing us money, costing us aggravation. We don't have the police at this time. We've got some guys going, hopefully go through the academy, but they're not gonna be ready. They're not gonna be ready to perform out there for Connecticut. It's something that I believe we can live without. Over 20 people I talked to, over 20 people. Every one of them, except one, said it should end. One person told me they should keep it on. Well, I look at it, so let's put a referendum out there. Let the citizens vote. Do we keep it or not? You know, you look around and watching heads shaking. No, you know, so I mean, that's what it's at. It's not the 4 or 5, 6 of us, whatever, gonna decide what happens in the city. Sometimes we have to move it to the residents. Say, what do you want as a resident? I think it's overdue. It's overdue. It's run its course. I'm enough. I've had enough.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sheasley. Any other comments?
Comment.
Mr. Fisher.
This Canal Fest discussion evolved into an experimental compromise where we were trying to blend heritage with a reimagined schedule. Last year at this time, I let them run an 8-day and I voted yes. It was a 3-2 vote, those who remember, with the promise that it would be reimagined. Myself and Mayor John White sat down. He was the go-between with the Canal Fest, and we reimagined it. It's no longer going to be an 8-day festival. If this passes, this resolution passes, it'll be 6 days. Sunday, Monday won't be there. It'll start on Tuesday. You'll still get to enjoy all the things that you're used to enjoying. The parade on Tuesday, the car show, the craft show. The rides and the games are going to be on the North Tonawanda side. Our side is going to be the non-for-profits, the food tents. New this year, they're going to have a lumberjack experience / show where they're going to do log cutting, log rolling, log splitting, different lumberjack type of traditional stuff. That's going to be right on our side, right in front of Hello Sweets on Niagara Street. I know Mr. Schleswig said he's talked to people and they said, get rid of it. Well, I would encourage the referendum. I'm in the 2nd ward and I'm hearing from people, they love Canal Fest. It just had to be reimagined. It had to be cleaned up. It had to be shuffled around. And we did that. And you're going to see it this year. If you read through the resolution, it talks about the difference. It was reduced from 35,000 to 25,000 this year, but we're not gonna be paying police to protect it on Sunday, Monday, and half of Tuesday, because it will be closed. It'll be non-existent on those days. And then when you expect it to open on Tuesday and go right in that parade, and that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see a summer festival from Tuesday to Sunday, ending with fireworks. Why would we want to get rid of that kind of heritage? We should just make it better. We can improve on it. We can change it. We need to evolve, not just cancel. Everyone wants to cancel everything nowadays. So let's change it. I think this year is a great compromise. I look forward to this experiment and we'll readjust next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any other comments?
Comment, Madam President.
Mr. Rautenstrau?
As somebody that's voted no against this 2 years in a row, I've continually said that our only negotiating tool has been a no vote. And that no vote has led to some negotiations. I think Councilman Cheesley makes some very good points, and I have my concerns. I'm hesitant. I've been on the fence until we actually had this vote tonight. But I have to give credit to Councilman Fisher and to the mayor for making some negotiations and changing some things. I don't see it as totally reimagined. I'd like to see a shorter festival. I'd like to see a little more reimbursement on our side. But my argument last year was that I'd like to see some changes made. I'd like to see some compromise. And as a man of my word, I'm willing to support it this year to see how it goes. I think there could be some benefit, but as I mentioned before, I know they've been looking for a multi-year contract with other cities, and I caution against that, and unless they hold by their agreement this year, and we have a Canal Fest that doesn't have any issues or problems this year. So yeah, thank you for your work on it. Thank you for seeing it reimagined. Thank you for the rest of the council members in past years for supporting a no vote and pushing them to renegotiate and talk again. Many years it's been pushed down our throats and forced to take it or leave it. And that's not fair to the residents. It's not fair to our city.
Thank you, Mr. Rautenstrau. Any other comments?
I have an additional comment.
Mr. Fisher?
So to piggyback on that, one of the questions was, why don't we do an extended contract? North Tonawanda enters into a 3-year contract. Why don't we do a contract? Well, we're the city council. We're the ones who approve Canal Fest with our yes and no votes, as Sean has said. We are a 2-year term. If we negotiate a 3-year contract, this year we negotiated a 3-year contract. This is an election year for everybody. Whoever wins or loses next council seats, they might have no say in Canal Fest for the next 3 years, even though they're the 2-year term council member. So it's not fair to the election process to settle a 3, 4, 5-year contract with your council members who only got 2-year terms. So I believe it should be annually that we should revisit this. So whoever's in these seats gets their say, because they're told by you people what we should be doing. You people should be telling us what to do. And that's why I believe it should always be a 1-year contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
One more comment.
Mr. Sheasley?
Remember, Sunday, basically NT opens up. We don't have Canal Fest Sunday or Monday here until Tuesday at 2 o'clock or 12 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. You know there's gonna be people there. So we've got to assign cops there some way or other that maybe are on patrol, protecting the rest of the community. You have to. People are be coming, going, they're gonna be parking in McDonald's, gonna be parking all over the place. So there's an added cost there more than just saying, well, we're not gonna have anything in our site Sunday and Monday. You're gonna have people. You're gonna have people. I'm done. So.
Thank you, Mr. Sheasley. Any other comments? Ms. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
No.
Fisher,
Hey,
Rautenstrau,
aye. I said A, I should have been I for the record. You're looking, A, I.
I didn't know what you were saying.
His no throws me off. Yes?
I thought it was a no too, sorry.
I'm sorry, it's a yes for those
Okay.
declared.
Thank you. Mylum,
Yes.
Cook. Cook,
I declare the resolution adopted.
resolution number 4 by the council, seconded by the council.
Comments or questions? Ms. Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
Sheasley,
That was I gotta take Roswell.
It's a special.
Roswell, yes. Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 5 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Fisher. Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Beasley,
Same.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. Again, if you're here for the mayor's public hearing, that will begin after this. It's Deputy City Clerk, any resident wishing to address the council following the resolution?
Not at this time, Madam President.
Okay, Mr. Sheasley.
Well, I'm stating my fact about Canal Fest. It's really have nothing. All of us old folks. The cold and the snow and all that, but, and I commend our departments. They do a great job. They do a great job. No, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Sheasley. Mr. Fisher.
The Chris Fisher Gives Back $50 check this week went to the VA Hospital Volunteer Services in honor of Cheryl Lepsch on Harriet Street. Cheryl used to run the clothing room that provided clothing for veterans that would come into the Veterans Hospital. If they got brought in by an ambulance in the middle of the night and they weren't wearing proper attire, when they got ready for discharge, they had no clothing to put on. Cheryl's son is a disabled veteran. He was injured in the Horn of Africa. When he was hospitalized in Germany, after they sent him over there from Africa, that's when she realized that the VA hospitals actually don't provide clothing. So she took this on to be her mission. So it's the Chris Fisher Gives Back was to the VA hospital for $50. Congratulations to the fire department on finally getting MERT passed. And I'm glad to see that Canal Fest will live on for 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Mr. Rautenstrau.
Thank you. One, I would like to, thank you again, to Councilman Fisher and the mayor for renegotiating our Canal Fest opportunities. It's a good time to have a change. I'm cautiously supporting it this year, and I hope things continue well. I hope it's successful. But I also, just like Mr. Fisher, every council member, whether he's in these seats this year or next year, keep in mind that that's a decision we need to make and listen to our residents. And I think we hear more from our residents. Segue the reimagining of that into the mayor's state of the city, the budget hearing tonight. I had some commentary on that. I kind of hope to maybe add some additional commentary after hearing from a lot of the people that have taken the time to come here. So, I want to start with, I've seen a lot of comments and posts on social media. A lot of people talking about it, and I think that's important to do. So I think that all you guys have your opportunity to speak. I'm one of the ones that sponsored this local law, this resolution to come out and bring this out as a tool. And part of the point of that is to have this conversation, to have people come out. Oftentimes we have this public hearing in November where we've already been presented with a budget, where we've already gotten to that point, and the council's left to make the final decision and approve it. So, we get the budget from the mayor. The mayor's day to day. He talks to our department heads, he talks to our people here, and presents a budget to us that now we have the opportunity to say, well, I don't know if that's a well enough value. I don't know if our taxpayers that probably up here that elected me see the value in the services that we provide, or I say they do, and perhaps we need to increase those services and increase the spending and increase the tax levy to our residents. It's not an easy decision one way or the other. That being said, it was a great idea for the mayor to have the state of the city at the senior center. It was great to see a bunch of people in attendance and a great opportunity to talk about it. I think it gave some people a chance to discuss and talk about it before they came tonight. Just a couple notes that I did want to make in regards to the mayor's statement here, just on the information here. One thing is the operating budget is at $24 million. The budget that we passed has expenses of $29 million that we all passed as of 2025. When you talk about the 16% of that budget that should be in the reserves, that 3.8 million as a result of that is $4.8 million that we should have in the reserves. And that amount in the reserves is to cover 2 months of cash flow, just as recommended with all of us in our personal budgets. That we should have enough money to carry over that cash flow for a couple of months. I think it's more important when we're talking about being the harbinger of our taxpayers' money, and we're responsible for that, that we hold true to that. We also talk about having a healthy reserve, $15 million in the reserve. That's $15 million as a total. There's an important distinction between the $15 million, the entirety of that reserve money, and the unrestricted balance. We did pass unanimously a few years back, a reserve policy that said we should have up to $9 million in there. We should keep a bare minimum of $5 million. That's something we might revisit as the total expenses continue to go up. Back then it was closer to $23 million. Now we're up to a $20 million budget. That $29 million budget is going to increase next year as well. With the raises and contractual raises that have been baked into the union contracts. And that's another 15 or 4% on top of that $29 million, which is going to get you well over $33 million. So that further increases the amount that we need to have in that reserve balance. I know some of you think I'm beating a dead horse here, and I'm a one-trick pony, but this is very concerning. That restricted balance that we talked about is $9.2 million. Out of that, this year's budget had an appropriation of $2 million, which brings that number a little closer to $7 million. All things considered. We've had a couple great one-shot deals. We've had some ARPA funds that weren't applied that we've been able to apply that's been able to replenish that a little bit. We've had some additional funding from state aid, additional taxes this year from the state, which is savings. But the fact of the matter is the revenue has not increased. The spending continues to increase, and it increases every year. We're not being fair to our residents. We're not being transparent to our residents by saying, all right, that's cool, we'll just take another couple $1 million out of the reserve. That couple $1 million is going to reduce and reduce and reduce. And as this perpetuates, as that spending continues to grow, we're already at about 15%. So at some point that burden is going to be put on our taxpayers. And that's a 15% burden. That's not to say that there's not some great things on the horizon. There's some development coming. There is the DRI that our mayor had got. That's awesome. That's great. That's $10 million that should incentivize some businesses into our community, into our city. But the fact of the matter is, with that development, we will need more services. We're going to have a need for more garbage collection, more police, and more fire to protect our city. With that amount of money, it's a great amount. There's some development in here, but to make up for that $5 million over 3 years, you're looking at upwards of $500 million in new property. That isn't new tax revenue, but it's going to offset our burden across the board for 6,000 properties across the city of Tonawanda, and might spread it out to a couple more people. But it's not going to be enough to truly have a net zero balance. So we need to be very concerned about that, and that's what I've been concerned. I'm not trying to sit here and bang my fist. I'm just trying to shine a light, be transparent about what's going on and what's happening. And this is the opportunity that you guys are engaging. You guys have been paying attention, and you should be fully aware. With that comes, what do we want our city to be? And that's part of what we want our residents to maybe talk to us. We talk about reimagining Canal Fest. Do we talk about reimagining our city? We're looking at a lot of money being put into our city, hopefully spurring some development. There's going to be a cost to that. We're going to need somebody to help steer this committee and steer this building. Somebody, to operate Main Street programs and make sure these businesses are getting maintained properly, spending the money properly, and being invested wisely. It wasn't that long ago, 8 years ago, that we had somebody doing that at our Main Street committee, and the council had an issue with how much that person was making and ended up losing that position. So, we could have had a little more development years ago on our Main Street. We could have done a little bit more. it's a lot of money to be spent. The cost of things continue to go up, the cost of our pay goes up for our residents, and that's baked into union contracts. But the fact of the matter is we need to decide, is that valuable to us? Does it have a value? On a lot of bases, I believe it does. I want to see our city grow. I want to see our city become more. I want to see a vision for our city. But what is that vision? We continue to put Band-Aids on things, throw a little more money at it, hope that's going to fix the problem. Let's pay a little more for this. Let's hire a couple people to do this. And what's been the return on investment? It's been slow, it's been steady, and it's been an increase to our tax dollars, or an increase to our spending. We really need to talk about what we want as a city. Do we want this to be a destination? I think it's a great idea. Or do we not want that to be a destination point? Where do we want our money spent? If we want to cut taxes and we want to pay less, look at the numbers, look at the budget. Does that mean we have reductions in services? Does that mean we have reductions in employment? I don't necessarily want to see less police or less fire. Most of us can live our entire lives and not require the services of police or fire. When we do, it's very important. They've been there for me and my family. We had a death in my family. It was great that they were there. They were professional and they took care of us. So that was great. I'm also a man of a certain age with young children. The fact that our fire department responds so quickly and gets there. If my children are injured or hurt, I appreciate the fact that our emergency services show up. I'm also a man of a certain age. If I have a cardiac event, I hope they show up quickly as well. Not a young man. But these are the things that we need to consider. We talk about a vision and moving our city forward. What do we want? What do we want to see our city? And that's what we look to you. I mean, it's an election year. You brought this up. You're going to have a bunch of people knocking on doors and talking to you. I don't like answering my doors and being bothered by these people. Sometimes it can be annoying. But that's one of the only ways that our candidates have a chance to talk to you and talk about our vision. They leave information. They leave phone numbers and contact information. We're on social media. Take the time and reach out. That's time to talk about people and talk about a vision. Talk about what we want to do for you. What our elected officials think that they can change. Take the time to talk to them and then hold their feet to the fire. If we've made promises and we've told you we're going to do something, keep paying attention, keep coming to these public hearings, keep coming to council meetings and understand what's going on. We really talk about growing our city and making it better. And I want to see the city better. I'm not a lifelong resident. I've moved out here about 25 years ago, and I've been warmly welcomed by the people that I've met in the city. I've had this great opportunity to serve the city over the past at least 8 out of 10 years. I've been able to serve on the council. It's been rewarding and it's been a great opportunity to me. It's been a great example for my kids. My kids are getting older, seeing what this community is about. And I think that's important. I guess what it really comes down to is, do we want to keep putting Band-Aids on it? Do we want to evolve into something more? Do we have a vision to make this better? And is that something we want to spend our money? I don't know. You kind of think about it a lot, and it's kind of silly corporate talk that I hear sometimes in business, but a butterfly is not just a bigger, faster, better caterpillar. It's something different. It's an evolution into something new. And I think that's what we need to start talking about as a community, as elected officials, as the people that you guys are holding responsible to shape and steer the city. So what do we want to see the city become? We want the same old. We want to invest a little bit now to see our city become a little bit better. And with that new development and with new things in our city, making it a destination point, in a few years, that investment can pay off and bring in new revenue, help offset our burden of the taxes. But there's cost and there's a time frame, and it's not going to be easy. But if we don't talk about it, if we don't realize it, if we continue to deplete funds out of the reserves, then we're going to get hit with a large tax increase that's going to hit us hard. And it's more than just taking money out of the reserves. It's more than just hiding tax money. We built this up. The mayor talks about, you don't want to overtax our citizens. Well, when I first got on the council, that reserve was next to nothing. There was only a couple $1 million in there. A previous mayor had also done that to keep taxes low. And he also made some great investments. We have the Pelosi Pavilion because of Ron Pelosi. We have some great things in our city. Every mayor has done a little bit different, a little bit something to make their mark on it. And that's what we should be doing. Some of us have only a couple years to do it. Some of us have more than that. My concern is we talk about this money that, and why it's in there, how much money that's in there. We just bought a fire truck. We agreed to that. We've saved money on interest. We've saved money on some other things. Is that the best idea? Well, I kind of think it beats paying a bond. It beats paying something else if we have enough money to be spending for that. But I also think about things with the DRI coming in here, that some of that money could be used to invest into our city as a one-time shot. Invest that money into helping these other businesses be incentivized, and at the same time, invest into our infrastructure, and into our roads. There was a lot of arguments this year about Riverview School, and a lot of people upset in that area, in that neighborhood, about this being turned into a residential neighborhood. I thought that this is going to help us. We're going to have more on the tax rolls to help offset our costs. It's not, not going to be the magic bullet. It's not going to fix things, but it's sure going to help us from bleeding even more as we move forward. But again, prior to that, we had already taken 850,000 out of reserves, another $1 million next year. Perhaps some of that money could have been used to buy the school and invest in the infrastructure and have a little more control over what's going into those places as Fletcher School or into River. Some of the stuff is armchair quarterbacking and thinking about it, but when these opportunities arise, that's what that reserve money is for, to take advantage of those opportunities and invest into our city. I think many of us have, lived in a home a long time or have sold a home, and we get to that point and put it up for market, and now we're painting walls, fixing things that have been broken over the years, and doing other things. And we sit back and we look at it and say, man, this is a nice house. Why am I selling it? Because we've had other obligations. But we think about if we continue that maintenance and do this on a regular basis, we're investing into our city and we're investing into our community and making it better. Really all I have to say. I appreciate all of you guys being out here. I look forward to hearing what your thoughts and your ideas on where we're going with the city, the budget, your ideas on how to make things better and what you want to see and what you're willing to trade off one thing for the other to either have less taxes or to grow our city. Thank you for listening to me ramble on a bit.
Thank you, Mr. Rounstrau. Mr. Mylum.
Say nothing to report. Thank you, Mr. Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Mayor.
Great. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate your input. Sean and I do talk quite a bit. A couple of things is, number one is the DRI can only be used for one thing. It's Downtown Revitalization Initiative. That money can only be used for that downtown footprint between a certain radius going north and south and a certain radius going east and west. It's a government grant, okay, from the state, and the state vets the projects. We submitted 12 projects. I can't just give the money to the city. It just doesn't go to a certain fund or make us shorten or less taxes. What it does is increase the businesses, so it brings revenue into the city of Tonawanda. That's what the DRI is for. So DRI just can't be spent that way. The DRI is a very important part. North Tonawanda did it 3 years ago. Look what North Tonawanda did. Walk down Webster. Take a look at what they did. That's what the DRI did. And that's what I'm looking for and vision for us to do here in the city of Tonawanda. Now, when it comes to having money in the general fund, you know what? With 15 million in the general fund, factual at the end of 2023 going into 24, there's no way in hell, excuse the expression, am I going to tax you 4 or 5% and keep 15 million in my pocket? It wasn't going to happen. So we did not override the tax cap. I mean, we did not go over it. For 3 years, we haven't. We have not gone over it in 3 years. So are we doing our job? How we generate that money, yes, was a little bit ARPA money. Yes, was a little bit of state money that came from COVID. But the biggest reason we save money in each of our departments. We put budgets together. We sit down with the department heads, police, fire, DPW, Parks and Rec, and this is your budget. Well, guess what? There's a savings and it goes into your general fund. So there's a lot more to it. But I do agree with Sean on one item. And the one item is that if we keep doing it, eventually it's going to go away. It's going to be cut down. That I do agree. But none of this projections includes revenue. And that's the key factor. We are a small city. We don't have a lot of room for growth. There really isn't. So we need to generate and think out of the box revenue. So that's what we're trying to do. So with the council, and again, it's going to be council approved, we will sit down and come up with something for revenue. But we've got a lot of things, a lot of projects. excuse me, in the horizons from Riverview to Spalding to the 12 projects from the DRI. There's a lot of activity. Tonawanda Housing Authority, $100 million project, redoing the housing authority over there in Gibson. So there's a lot of things going on. It's unbelievable. Will it generate? Yes. Will it generate everything we need? Probably not. But it's a start to move in the right direction. And we have some cushion, and that's why we use that money that we had in that cushion, so we do not raise your taxes. And that's why the council agreed with it, because we stayed at 2%. So there's a reason for that, because nobody on this council wants to see your taxes go up, go over the tax. We really don't. But I can start with the, okay, you do it, but that, that's basically what I had to say. I just want to say also that there's a Winterfest being held February 15th, Saturday, next Saturday at Ice Pond. Bring your kids, it's about 15 and under, come on, enjoy it, have fun. A lot of good things happening over there. We're trying to have fun of winter. We haven't done this and brought this back for about probably 3-4 years, so we're bringing it back now. And I think it'll be a good time, so the kids can enjoy winter over at Ice Pond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'll turn it back over to you for your public hearing regarding local law number 1. Mayor?
Great, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the public hearing to authorize the city to exceed the New York State tax cap in the event that it is needed. A resolution was initially passed by the Common Council on January 21st, 2025. New York State law establishes the process to be followed in this matter, and the next step requires the city to hold a public hearing, and that's what we are doing tonight. The Common Council in the said resolution authorized and directed my office to conduct the public hearing on the city's behalf, and that's what we're doing. This resolution was a result of a request by the city treasurer to the Common Council. The treasurer, as a fiscally responsible public official, made the request that the city will have the option to exceed the tax limit in the event of unforeseen circumstances and to avoid potential catastrophic consequences of lost service and dramatic workforce reduction. This is merely a tool in our pocket and in a pocket of the treasurer in case the financial situation dramatically changes. It does not mean the city intends to use this tool or to raise or exceed the tax cap. Many municipalities pass this same resolution early January each year just to have this available. I would like to make it perfectly clear that during the past 3 years, we in the council have not exceeded the tax cap. I've worked with the city and the city officials, department heads, council to make significant cuts in the budgets so we stay under the tax cap limit. It is my intention to continue the same process in order to keep us under the tax cap in the upcoming budget for 2026. At this time, I would like to ask anybody from the public, any comments regarding the resolution, kindly approach the microphone or press the appropriate prompt if you're doing it online, and identify yourself and ask the question. The first one I'd like to ask from the city is our treasurer who asked for this to come up. Adam McNeil, please come up. Adam McNeil. Excuse me, ma'am. Adam's coming up first, and then anybody else can come up. Well, and I asked the treasurer to come up first. Pardon?
I don't think it's on.
It's not, so treasurer Adam Pugh. Yeah, I don't think this might work, so, I have to do treasurer, I think, but that hasn't happened. It's definitely my suggestion over the tax cap. It's something that I think we should do every single year as president. So we have to our pockets and, good budgetary decisions, September, October. So tool doesn't necessarily mean taxes are coming up today, but we can actually go down. Just put it in place that we do our budget in September and October. Do a financial decisions. It's not just it's not a tough decision that's based on a state law. Well, the other big piece of the tax cap for myself and why I think it's so important is it's one thing that our creditors, the people that own this money do look at. They look forward to the council and the mayor to make responsible financial decisions. To have a question on the application when we go to do our bonding and stuff to prove that, we're making good financial decisions. And we're not just following a antiquated 2% tax step law. And that's really all I have to say about it.
Thank you, Adam.
Anybody else with questions regarding the tax cap? Please come to the microphone. Would you like to use this microphone?
You just have to state your name and address for the record.
Okay. So my name is Maureen Frockian. My address is 73 Fletcher Street, on New York, 14150, on the United States of America. And I am here because I'm unemployed and people are trying to pay for taxes. So I cited a couple discrepancies in your statements. I'd like to jot down all of your names first, so I have them. I'll do that now. How? I've worked for 24 years. Companies in Tonawanda will not hire me. I'm gonna get a PhD eventually, and they still won't hire me. So there's no jobs here. There's no growth. You didn't state what happened with its past 10 years of property taxes. I've been here for almost 10 years. Poor planning, indecisive city. You say there's no growth. You say there is growth. Not to point fingers, but John White saying there's no growth. You're saying there is growth, John.
I'm saying growth.
You're saying growth, you're saying,
I'm saying there is some growth.
and there's lack of concrete numbers. I haven't been given any numbers about where my funds are going, how much is going into the retirement, how much is going for, I can't, I don't have health insurance right now. I have it for free actually, because companies don't hire me. So for me to be spending my property tax dollar for somebody else's healthcare, that should be my money. And then there was a statement that combining the schools would lower our taxes. It raised our taxes. Then there's, and if you created a bunch of small businesses, that would do more than creating, I don't know what North Tonawanda did, because I've been working 70 to 100 hours a week the past 4 years, and now companies won't hire me. And instead of figuring out what services to cut, the city should figure out how to make more money. Because each homeowner is giving at least $5,000 a year. And I never see much being done in the city. Paying taxes really similar to Amherst, now that I don't have their adequate school system. They're going to be cutting programs, and the city didn't mow their lawns for Right for Russell Park. On my way back from my Central Park, the 30-mile bike ride I did, I had to ride in the street with cars honking and beeping at me as it poured rain. I had to fear traffic because the city wouldn't mow their lawns. The city didn't mow their lawns. You know, if I don't mow my lawn, I can get fined, I can get a ticket. The city didn't mow their lawns. Then there's the inadequate police system, where a police can come and knock on your door because you wrote a negative review about a company. So if that's where the police funds are going, that's brilliant use of, it's a waste of my tax money. I don't like it. And every time I've done a major repair to my house, I had to spend between $500 and $2,000 to get an engineer to make a report that my house needed a repair. The city enforces that. I want to know where those funds are going for repair permits for homes. I want a detailed analysis of every repair I ever had done to my house and exactly where all of the funds for my tax dollars have gone over the past 9 years.
Ma'am, you can come to the treasurer's office. We can talk.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get your answers you got. I appreciate your input. Your input's very important.
Yeah.
I thank you, but I've got to get through the night. I can't have everybody, so everybody's got 5 minutes.
I named my count.
3 minutes, I'm sorry. I do apologize, but I thank you for your input, and we will answer any questions you have if you came in here. We will be transparent, so I'd like to make that clear. But to get through the night, to be fair to everybody who took your time out of your night to come here, away from your families, 3 minutes to speak. So, any questions? Next, anybody else want to come up? Anybody else have any other questions? Tax cap, come on up, sir.
I'm not sure they can hear me. Can everybody hear me?
Perfect. Your name and address, sir.
My name is Michael Stewart. At any rate, our first question is, if we get sued, which we do get sued, where's that money gonna come from?
Well, we have insurance, number one. And what we do is we have a minimum that we can pay out through our insurance company. Let's say it's $25,000 it might be, but do have insurance. We get sued all the time. But we make them go through. That's why we actually changed liability insurance companies because they weren't doing their job. So with this new one, they will act on every single complaint and either get it dropped off or go through court with it and they will fight for us. So we have somebody fighting for us through our insurance liability company. So yes, we do get sued.
And one more question. The construction, 124 unit, where's that?
That's gonna be right on Fillmore, right in the corner,
Right across the street from my house.
right across, well, from Prescott's on the, heading, west, correct? Right in that old site.
Plan on doing that, but the streets are so narrow that when he's parking cars, or even if he isn't,
Well, he won't be able to park cars, sir. He won't be able to park cars. It won't be his property.
then he will be.
Pardon?
Have you ever been down there?
Oh, yeah, very much, all the time.
And to add to that question, why is it taking so long? 15 years that building's been empty and falling apart. Why hasn't it been torn down? And you can talk about the contamination, but the contamination wasn't until years later, was it checked to see if it was contaminated? Why wasn't he made to take that down before that? If that building falls down, somebody's gonna die.
We addressed the building with him. He's got to do something in March, once the DRI. He can't take anything. If he takes it down, he won't get reimbursed from the DRI. So he's waiting till March for the state to make the decision and say, yes, you get it, and then he'll take the building down. So that's what we're waiting for.
What about before you, it works for the DNR, it's still on the building?
If he doesn't get the DRI, then he's got to take the building down, because then he's already been cited. We've already had code enforcement over there. You see the signs, the yellow signs were on the building. We had that addressed ASAP with him. So we're not letting him get away with it. I do apologize. It's unsightly, but unfortunately it's been there for a while and we're trying to correct that. We will correct that. Anybody else in regard to the tax cake? Either come up, or if you're loud enough, speak your name and address. Okay, name and address, ma'am.
You just need your name and address for the record.
Leanne Meyer, 261 Willow Bend Road, Tonawanda, New York, 14150.
Thank you.
Okay, the question that I have is, do you realize how many seniors and how many young couples have bought homes in this area? And planned on retiring here, like my husband and myself. For instance, young couples that bought homes, I have 4 of them on my street, that the taxes are gonna go up and they're not gonna be able to afford it. So how is that gonna work? They're gonna lose their home. We're gonna lose our homes. And along with the utilities and the cable that we've been begging for, now finally they got green light to come in.
Yes.
Okay, I've been here almost 8 years. I've been asking for 8 years. And now finally, 8 years later, we've been paying Spectrum for cable that doesn't even work. So what do you think is gonna happen to these seniors? What's gonna happen to them? What is gonna happen to us? Are you thinking of that?
We think of all that, man. We really do.
Kids that are gonna be without schools, because there's lots of them. I just bought that house there. I paid it off in cash. When we bought it, I paid it off in cash. You know what? I had to take a mortgage. I had to take a mortgage because of all of this.
Ma'am, the last 3 years, taxes did not go past the tax cap. And number one, number two, every municipality around us is at 12%, 50%, they're all going up. I'm just saying,
Right now, and that's ridiculous.
oh yeah, absolutely.
And
One comment at a time.
Ma'am, one
Do
person
one-
talking at a time.
One comment
All
at a
right,
time.
ma'am, keep going. You got about another minute left. Please go.
just saying, we're as high as Amherst. How much higher can you guys go?
Nope, we understand. We do appreciate it.
There's gotta be a limit somewhere.
Okay.
There's gotta be a cutoff. Sorry, there's just it.
Sir in the back,
If you're gonna comment, you need your name and address for the record.
sir?
Mike Bravo, 79 Clipper Street. The taxes, I keep hearing how there's a tax, like, if we didn't pass the 2%, I'll give you that. But you doubled the assessments on people's houses. That's how you doubled the assessment, when people's homes literally doubled in value in the assessment. That's how we're making up the taxes. And then you're asking for an additional just in case tax. This isn't gonna go. This is not right. There is seniors, there's people who are retired or on fixed income who cannot afford it. I hate to break it. We elected you to figure this out, not to bring us completely dry. We are a historic city. I think we avoid that. We don't concentrate on that. We miss opportunities left and right. You can stand on the canal on the Tonawanda side, look over at North Tonawanda and see who's doing a better job. Our infrastructure is aged. It's falling apart. You look over the canal and it's a brand new city. We need to do better than this.
That's why we are doing it.
You're right.
Yep.
I'll give you that.
Yep.
But you don't have assessments. So let's get that out of the record. I'm done.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sir, in the far back?
Tyler Stevenson, 20 Simpson Street. My wife and I, we own a home in Tonawanda. We also own and operate Hello Sweets Candy and Pop Shop on Main Street. So we pay property taxes twice. I guess I keep hearing about the DRI, and it seems like all of the money for the DRI is going to build apartments and event spaces. Which, like, event spaces are great. I don't know that we need 9 of them. But the way to bring money in the city of Tonawanda, we bring revenue in the city of Tonawanda, is to bring businesses in the city of Tonawanda. Main Street's dying. We are like the business on Main Street. There's some restaurants, a lot of them are closing, a lot of people are moving. I've seen, since we've been in business 5 years, I've seen like 10 businesses come and go. And like, there's just nothing on Main Street. There's nothing people can come and do. We're gonna put in all these apartments, we're gonna put in all these event spaces. There's nothing for people to come and do. Our business is flanked by an abandoned McDonald's and an abandoned Rite Aid, and there's nothing there.
Well, sir, if you build, if the apartments are built and let's say where the old Smoke in the Water is, we put those apartments in there. Where are all these people, the 124 people gonna eat breakfast? Where are they gonna eat lunch? Where are they gonna eat dinner? Those people, then the businesses will come in. That we've gotta build downtown by either bringing the businesses. Are you gonna spend $1 and go downtown and put a business when nobody's coming through it? But if you have the people down there, that's our hope of our revenue downtown. To be honest with you, that's what we're trying to do. Thank you for your comments. I do appreciate that. And thank you for being a business in our city. Ma'am, in the far back?
Just trying to piggyback on top of him. Downtown, after, I don't know, 6, 7, it's a ghost town. There's nothing there.
I agree.
You have non-for-profits right inside your main street. That is where you're trying to rejuvenate and have people come and visit. Well, nobody wants to come there if there's darkness. And then there's all that light on the other side of the canal. So I don't know if you are able to tell or get these non-for-profits, some of them are for the city. I think the senior center is one of them. I mean, is that the best place for them? Is that where it should be? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's very dark down there, and to have a business trying to make it happen now or bring more businesses in, they're not gonna wanna be there.
If you're looking over at North Tonawanda, that's what the $10 million did for North Tonawanda. And that's what we're planning on do in our side to make Tonawanda a destination. It's a process, unfortunately. I do apologize, whatever was done with the past. It is dark. I agree with that. But no, I agree. I do agree. I agree. I agree. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Next, sir, you had your hand up here. Name.
Coleman, 155 Niagara. Going along with what was said about assessed value of a house, my house went up 112%. My taxes more than double. That's crippling to anybody, anywhere. And now you have double my revenue coming in from taxes. Now you want to put in for a clause of even more than the 2%. You double. That's crippling. That's in any situation, that's terrible.
No, I agree. When I came in, this was already in place for the reval. Okay, so when I came in, my first question to the assessor is, why is this, it's being done so all the homes can be assessed? They're wrong. People with houses that were assessed so low we're getting away with, and the taxes and everybody, and the tax burden with the other houses. What it did is put everybody at fair market value. Look at what they're charging you with your assessment, and can you sell your house for that amount?
No.
Then you can,
When I went to appeal this.
right.
Zillow. A website that you can basically change the value of your house at any point.
So you can challenge your assessment every single year. Yeah,
You get like,
every single year you can do it though.
but also with,
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In the white, yes.
I'm Tina, I live over at 19. I've been for 25 years. I love the city. I'm appreciative of the Department of Public Works, the police department. I've had reassessments. My property value is gone up. I've paid more taxes. But quite frankly, for the services that we get here, this city knocks it out of the park. And I do agree with the issue, like the businesses, the Main Street being quiet. I get all that. I came here tonight only to find out this, this tax levy that goes above what the state allows. Is this something that is gonna happen, or as you said, is it not gonna happen?
You know what?
Yes.
Some use it, some don't. If it passed, we may not use it. It all depends on situations. If a crisis happened or something, gasoline went through the roof and all the other factors took place. I can't say this. So if it's passed, it's just put in your pocket to use. And as Adam said, our creditors look at us for that. Did we pass the tax cap? They look at those things. So we're just trying to do what's good for us, for the city, not to go after the homeowner, but what's good for the city moving forward, so we don't have to put a burden on you.
So is this something that gets voted on? Or is it just something?
No, it's voted on. This is a process tonight. It's called the session I have to do with the public, have a public hearing and get public input, and then it's voted on at the next council meeting or down the road. So it's not in place as of yet. This is an informational say, hey, let's hear what the public has to say. Pardon? This is it here. I don't have a vote. The council's right here. 4 council, the 5 of them, yes. We'll vote, yes.
As to whether or not maybe you're gonna go above the state level and tax the residents more.
Well, no, they're gonna vote on whether to put that tool in their pocket or not. That's what they're gonna vote on. Whether they're gonna use it or not, that's gonna be dictated by economy, factors of what's going on with cost of everything. So that, just because it'll be passed, yes or no, it still may not be used. So there's many factors that come into play.
Lastly,
Yes.
is this something that's common in Buffalo, downtown?
Most municipalities do it. When I go to the mayor's meeting, these questions I ask, say, guys, gals, how many people have the ability and you use a tax cap? Oh, we override it every year in January, whether we use it or not. I went, oh, so it's something new for us in the city. So when you get your reval done and your taxes go up, you're like, tax, I'm not gonna vote on this. I'm gonna come to the council meeting. And I appreciate everybody coming because that's what I would think also. But this is just to put a tool in the pocket. Not whether we're not gonna use it.
Get voted on, yes.
Yes,
Then aside from 5-year reassessments that we're now getting,
right.
this could also be another. Yes.
No, this is just that if the taxes may be 2, we may have to go to 4. We don't know. It just gives us the ability to go over the 2%, let's say if that's a state tax levy. Instead of saying 2, we might have to go 4. Instead of going 2, we might have to go 5. But it's to have that tool in your pocket. And as Adam said, our creditors look at us for having these things in place.
When will the council be voting on this?
Next, possibly within the next couple of meetings, which you will be, we will inform everybody. We will.
Thank you for your time.
Sir,
Get her in.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
Right.
Woman in the red, you've been hanging, I'm sorry. Stand up.
Ma'am, can we just get you on the microphone so we can get your comments on the record?
Thanks, Jim.
Or use that one?
That one's speech is a little longer.
Great, I don't know. Hi. Welcome to Tonawanda. I like Tonawanda too. When I came here though, I'll tell you, I moved in '64. First daughter was born. I loved it. We had a sample. In North Tonawanda, we had a Woolworths. I mean, there were things happening. And I could walk downtown every day with my buggy and my kids and stop and sample, stop here, stop there. There were things happening. So things have gone down, and I think our whole we have to go with whatever the new style of finding ways for interaction for our young ones. And I see in North Tonawanda that they have their Junior Chamber of Commerce. We need the Junior Chamber of Commerce. Very, very active Chamber of Commerce that brings and starts making things happen. And that's some of the businesses that are doing well. Some of them are suffering. That's a fact.
Pleasure.
We're a quiet community, and it was a culture shock to me
Pleasure.
when I moved into the city, but I loved it. And I loved being able to walk around the entire city. But it's sad to see that we can keep things going here other than what we call them, antique and junk shops. Maybe we need to have a bigger thing with all these junk shops and get an auction going or something, but I think we need a Junior Chamber of Commerce to talk about it, to back it, to get the city to back it. That may take more money. Well, that's about all I could say, but
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm hoping that we go back up and get some action.
We do have a very
We get to use North Tonawanda.
We do have a very active Chamber of Commerce. We do work with our local Chamber of Commerce very well. And so everybody understands that McDonald's is owned by Benderson. We don't have nothing to do with that property. And Benderson sits on properties and they do better sometimes than they have write-offs. I have no control, the city has no control over it. Rite Aid is owned by Remy. Remy owns it, and they're working with us. They missed a DRI application date, but we're working on a couple things. They wanted to put a small hotel there. They wanted to put mixed use in the bottom. So they wanted to do something. They do want to do something, and we are in contact with them constantly to try to get something down there. So it's not as if we're not trying. We're networking with everybody we can to make and get that big R revenue moving downtown and to make it walkable. But again, it's a process, and we just received that grant. It's not going to be validated or vetted by the state governor's office until probably March, maybe April at the latest. So we will work on it. The more we bring in, the more we can bring in revenue, which will bring the tax base down. We are a small city, so I apologize. We don't have great room for growth. But we're half the size of our buddies and brothers and sisters in North Tonawanda and in the town. Next. Sir, stand up in your name and address.
At McCarthy, 8 Watson. We've been here 7 years. And work was started out approximately $700. It's now $1,000.
Excuse me, sir. I'm getting a message that our deputy city clerk can't hear you, so can you please approach the
come on up.
microphone?
So.
Hang on one second. Hang on. Hey, sir, hang on one second.
You got a full.
Just your name and address.
Okay. Pat McCarthy, 8 Luxon. So the first year we moved in, they did a reassessment. Okay, they went from a 90% valuation to 100% evaluation. Every time this council votes yes to do a reassessment, there's a tax increase. You can say, no, we're going to lower your per thousand rate. The county doesn't lower my per thousand rate. The school board doesn't lower my per thousand rate. So every time this council votes for a reassessment, you're hitting us with 2, possibly 3 tax increases.
But you have plausible deniability when you knock on my door and say you didn't raise my taxes. It was a reassessment. So stop the reassessments. If you're gonna raise the taxes, do it for the city, but don't do it for the county and the school board.
We were about 40%, 46% with our tax base, with your assessments. I guess it was time for one. I didn't have anything to do with
It's the
it, but
second one in 7 years.
that, I understood that.
Communities
There's
haven't
not-
done it in 30 years.
The town of Tonawanda hasn't, their average home is about 20%, 25%. I looked at the sheet. I agree with you. It was done, again, the next one won't be for a while. Again, I do apologize. We
You
have
get
nothing
three
control.
tax
I understand that.
And
absolutely.
that's just not right to the homeowners when
Right.
you're looking almost a 50 in your mortgage rate.
Right.
It's, it has to stop at some point.
I agree. Thank you. Sir in the black, yes.
Please.
Mike, I'll need you to, yep, please.
It's recorded. We hear everything you say.
Mike Abramo, 79 Fletcher Street. Moot point. Their vote, you're asking us to listen to you, to give you permission, to give you the chance to override the tax cap, correct? Taxes never go down. So if we give permission for taxes to go up, we're already, we can all kind of agree, we're all a little cash strapped here. We're all a little tight, right? So I think we're a little uncomfortable with giving unanimous like permission for you guys to override the tax cap again. Is there a chance that this can go to a referendum?
No.
We have an opportunity to vote on this? Is it no? Sorry, I had to ask.
Mayor, I'll comment. The procedure is dictated by the state.
Taxes never go down.
Ma'am. That one right there you can use, ma'am. Just state your name and address and.
Excuse me, hang on one second. This is a public hearing on the local law. I need one person talking. Thank you.
My name is Angela. I live on Adam Street. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Do you all live in the city of Tonawanda? I'm just curious. You do. How do you personally feel about your assessments going up? Aside, if you didn't have this job, how would you feel if your home was assessed at 100% market value and you were paying 100% taxes on that?
Like everybody else in this room.
It's upsetting.
Oh, sure it is.
It's
Absolutely.
absolutely devastating. I mean, literally every single one of our neighbors on Adam Street are older. The house was passed down to them. It might be paid off. They're only paying the taxes on it, but they're on fixed incomes. Everyone looks after our property when we're out of town. It's a wonderful community. I only speak highly of the city of Tonawanda. I'm also a real estate agent. So I have to have these conversations with my clients when they're looking at areas to invest in. I have to explain to them, the home that you're about to look at has been reassessed for a little bit below what the market value, might be now, but it could increase. And then you have to pay higher taxes than what you're paying on that. How does that make you feel? What does that look like with your monthly payment when you can only afford the minimum down 3% on the home that you're purchasing, your first home. You're paying high taxes already, right? The interest rates are skyrocketed. So people can't afford to move into this neighborhood, and people that are living here can't afford to live in this neighborhood. What is this neighborhood gonna look like in a few years from now, right? Everyone wants to see more opportunity and more businesses coming in here, of course. Is there another way to do that? How did North Tonawanda do it, right? They got this grant. They haven't increased taxes on the homeowners.
Well, they went up 6% last year and they're gonna go up probably another 6% this year. You went 2%. So yes, they are going up.
Okay. Maybe we can try to take notes from other areas, other townships, get creative. There's gotta be another way than to put the burden on the people that have lived here for literal generations. House was passed down to them. That's all.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can you just state your address for the record?
It's 235.
Thank you.
Sir, come on up. In the brown. Jan.
This gentleman up here.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't, where, I couldn't see what. Okay, all right.
Joe Swifka, 105 Klinger. So we keep talking about North Tonawanda. If you go past Webster Street, it's all blight. So you're just, you're looking at the glowing lights, but once you get past them, it's just, there's nothing. And we all know that. So whatever businesses you bring in here, whoever you're highlighting the dollars for, it's just gonna service the business. It's not servicing us. And we don't have a big wallet to just keep handing over money. So my question is, we're paying a lot of money because you're chartered to do pensions. There's services that are still being rendered. In my house, if our budget decreased or our expenses increased, we cut things. What are you cutting?
Okay, we actually cut quite a bit. I wish we were at a meeting and come on in. We have meetings with the treasurers about the city, and we'll do it again mid-year as we proceed. Please get involved with it. Come on to the meetings and see what we do anticipate on cutting. It's very important that you get part of it so you understand what we do. We sit down and we cut quite a bit. I mean, I love this city. I love where I live. The reason we're surrounded by 3 beautiful waterways. If I have a heart attack or somebody falls, we average 150 calls for emergency services a month. And they're there in less than 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Where do you want to live? I'm living here with that. And whether you're young or whether you're old. And same with the fire department, police department, same thing. I wish, you know, you can't have both. We either cut services and eliminate to save some money, you're gonna lose your services. We're not gonna be that quaint little city with a 2.5 minute response time for your elder or your son or your daughter that dropped over because they have a concern. We get there fast, and we are certified people. And for the fire department, police department, I'll tell you what, I'll take that any day, all day. I'm not saying that's why your prices are up there, and your costs is up there, or your taxes. But again, the reval happened. We had nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, it happened. Is it gonna happen again? I don't see it happening for a while. I really don't. We're at 100. We're probably about 95% now. We moved because we were 46 or 45%. That's why we did it, from what I understand. Yes, ma'am.
Coaches had its hand up for a while, past Neil.
Pass Neil?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay, it's been. Got a lot there.
Maria Zwifka, I'm a resident. I have worked intimately with our police and fire. I know many of them very well. But at this point, for what I'm personally paying in property taxes, I could hire my own nurse to come to my rescue. And you're talking about 1,400 other residents that are paying somewhere in the same vicinity of $4,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 a year just in our property taxes. And I know you keep saying this is just a tool. We don't put tools in our toolbox unless we're going to use them. We rent them out if we're not going to use them. And I'm sorry, sir, you campaigned on revenue. You campaigned on the former guy not doing anything to bring this city into the future. And there are 2 arguments of this. One person said something about us being a historic city. And another person said something about us not progressing the way North Tonawanda is. Well, you can't have both. You can't have 2 feet in 1955 and have another 2 feet in 2025. We need to get off of this historic city and start progressing, bringing in revenue, doing what we can. We have 3 miles of waterfront that we all walk on, that we could be getting money off of the way Buffalo does, the way Niagara Falls does. You have to make hard decisions. It's not up to us to make those hard decisions for you. We elected you to make those hard decisions. Well, I mean, not me personally, but you were elected to make those hard decisions. Make them. Stop digging into our pockets to fix your inequity.
Thank you for your comments. Brenda Brown, where are you? Come on, sir, stand up.
So, 3 things. One.
We just need your name and address for the record.
Jared Pease, 160 Delaware Street. I lived here for about 2.5 years.
Sir, I'll need you to come up to the microphone.
The clerk can't pick it up. That's
Thank
it.
you.
We really want to hear everybody's comments, so if it can't pick up, we can't hear it.
Jared Pease, 160 Delaware Street. I lived here for about 2.5 years. About 3 months after I purchased my property,
I got a letter in the mail saying that my house was being reevaluated for 120% over what I paid for it, 3 months after I purchased the property. Very cool. So, that aside, my question is, you mentioned that we do have insurance. Why would we need another tool in this toolbox of additional taxes if we already have insurance? What is that money for then?
I don't understand. We have insurance to protect us from liability
Okay.
and claims. That's completely different than assessments.
So what? The assessment thing was just a point of contention.
Oh, I understand.
Beside that, you're saying that we are adding this tool to this toolkit, potentially, if you vote on this, but we already have insurance. What would we need that additional money for if we already have insurance?
No, the tool, as Adam stated, the tool is just something that we keep in our pocket in case let's say that something.
So then what's the insurance for?
No, it's not. The insurance is for somebody who sues us. It has nothing to do with a raise in taxes. It's completely different.
So then what would the raise in taxes be paying?
Or the raising the tax would be for, pardon?
The operating budget.
It would be for the operating budget because something happened to raise our cost of. Let's just say we had a storm to come through and we knocked out 3 or 4 trucks. We had to do, our lines went down and we had to go in to spend $400,000 or $2 million to repair it. That's not a liability issue for our insurance company because it's an act of, let's say, an act of God.
So is that something that you should be?
That would something,
the insurance
and if we
company
didn't have, right, if we didn't have that tax cap to raise it over, that tool in the pocket, then we would have to raise the taxes.
Right. Would that be something that you could talk to that insurance company about and then add an additional coverage so that we don't
No,
have
it's
to pay
completely-
for it out of our pockets?
So I understand what you're saying. I would have to sit down with the insurance company. I don't
Is
believe,
that an option?
I don't believe that would cover what we're talking about. I don't believe so.
Sure.
Again, this is,
My last point, though, several times tonight, you have said that you don't think that there's a lot of growth opportunity in the city.
I didn't say that. I
You
think
absolutely
there's
did.
definitely
You
growth.
said we have
I said it's a
limited growth
small
opportunities.
city. We can't grow in other areas because there's nowhere to grow to.
Sure.
But
that's a fair
we're
point.
growing in existing
However,
buildings.
but what you said is that there aren't a lot of growth opportunities here.
Great.
Literally over the canal, you have a mayor who just yesterday during his state of the city address mentioned how much opportunity they have.
There are 3
Why
times
don't
this,
you-
there are
That's
3
not the
times this
point.
side.
The point
Oh,
is that-
it very much is the point.
The point is that you are looking at the city and publicly saying that you don't think that there is as much growth opportunity here. Why not?
Because there's no room.
Sure there is.
No, there's no
There's
room.
absolutely room. Look at the size of the parking lot by the Walgreens. Look at the size of the parking lot at Tops. All
That's
of
what,
those things.
thank you. That's what we're working on now. I appreciate that.
Right.
Yes.
So do something.
Sir, we are. I wish I could do it overnight. I work with a company wants to build one right behind the, I can't tell you right now until I get it in writing.
So you're saying, so now you're saying that there is growth opportunity.
We're taking advantage of the minimum growth opportunities that we have and looking at, okay, if we have too much tarmac, this is where we would build. Now I gotta convince somebody to come in there and talk to somebody, and we've got somebody who may be interested in filling one.
Raising taxes is going to incentivize people to come to the city?
No.
Are you kidding?
By building, that's gonna reduce the tax because it'll increase our revenue.
Right, but in order to incentivize people to build on that property,
Right.
why would you continuously raise taxes?
I'm not raising, I don't raise taxes. I said,
Your council is voting on raising taxes.
the council is voting raising the tax cap, not raise the tax.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, semantics, but they are voting to potentially raise the taxes.
They are.
Why would you think a business would be incentivized by that, even that notion?
Right.
To come here to build their business?
So your 3 minutes has expired.
I'm sure it has. Cheers.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I'll come forward so you can hear me. Chip Found 98 Murray Terrace. My question is, I'm listening to you wanting to exceed the tax cap, right? And your example, one that you gave was in case the cost of gasoline goes up. So you're talking about something.
One thing, yes, we don't have control.
My question is, where is the emergency reserve in this question that Sean was talking about earlier, that you've been depleting all along? And why aren't you doing more to cut the costs in this community?
We did by not raising it.
Because if you're asking, every time I turn around, I see something bad, more people, you decrease salaries.
Yet now you're coming to us as taxpayers saying, we need the ability to get more money from you eventually down the road. If you have that ability, what prompts you to initiate that increase?
What the council did was make an agreement that we aren't gonna go over the tax rate. We stayed at 2%. And that's what we did. That's why we use that money from the.
Right, but if you stay at 2%, that's within the law. Now you found a loophole to allow you to go possibly beyond it in case of some cataclysmic event, right? That's what you're saying. We need that because our creditors want to see it. Where's your reserve? You spent it down.
No,
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I heard earlier.
It's not down. It's not down. That's misinformation. It is not down.
Why? Your council person just said that.
Is it down to nothing? No, we
No,
got,
I didn't say it was down to nothing, but you've depleted it.
we
Where's your
reduced,
fiscal prudence?
we reduced it so you don't pay taxes. Everybody voted
I
on it.
don't pay taxes.
You don't pay over.
I'm paying taxes.
Pay over,
Every year they go up.
you don't pay over the 2%.
You know, I'm sorry to get so emotional, but it's an emotional thing.
I understand.
How can I trust you with that ability to override that tax cap? What prompts you to be able to use that? You
What-
don't come to me as a voter and say, use it. Can I use it? You don't come to these folks as a voter and say, can I use it?
I went
You
to
say,
the,
but trust me, I'm the government, trust me? Come on now.
go on up, sir.
Hi, Tyler Stevenson, 20 Simpson Street. So you're talking about this DRI money and how it's gonna bring all these people in, but you don't think it's going to bring in enough revenue to continue to run the government without possibly exceeding the, like, we're in a bad financial position as a city is what I'm hearing here. What is the plan for the future? Like, so let's say you raise taxes to 15% once you pass this as a one-time thing. What happens next year? What happens the year after that? Like, what is the long-term plan to balance the budget to make it that? Because we're always told by everybody around us, live within your means, get another job, spend less, cut Netflix, go to Aldi instead of Wegmans, whatever. But there doesn't seem to be the same thing on the other side. What is the long-term plan to balance the budget, to be able to continue funding the city like that's not bringing enough revenue?
The long-term plan is to bring revenue into the city. That's our best option to do it.
But how? Like, bringing in people that live here isn't necessarily bringing in that much revenue, right? You
No,
said it's not gonna bring
that's
in-
not gonna bring it's gonna help with the tax base, absolutely.
Right.
But the bringing the people in, that will bring the businesses in was what we're looking at. That's what North Tonawanda did. They brought the people in. They got the one on, across from Sweeney there. They got the big apartments on, River Road. Those people are stopping downtown and that's what's bringing in the new revenue. And that's
The
what.
Oliver Street,
This was,
right?
oh,
Like, I mean, it looks beautiful across the water. We're all talking about.
No, I
oh,
agree with
Tonawanda
that.
is Great. North Tonawanda is terrible.
did you know North?
Outside of that water there, it is a wreck.
Well,
Like, it's much worse than City of Tonawanda. Just so everybody's aware, North Tonawanda is a mess.
Right.
Like, the side that we see, beautiful. You go a couple blocks over, it is
all right,
dilapidated. It's a shanty town. It's.
all right. Well, I thank you. I appreciate your input. Thank you.
Yeah, so that, but what's the tax though? Like we said, bring in more revenue. How?
What,
Like, are we doing, if we build it, they will come?
no, as I told you, with the DRI, with the Riverview Apartments, with the Karuba, with the Smoke in the Water, I mean, that's all revenue. That's all revenue. The Spalding, that's all additional revenue that we don't have now. All these figures you hear the sky's falling includes zero revenue.
Right.
So, you know what? Let's trust the process and we're working very hard for it. We're not working with the community. Everybody around us is going up 10, 12%. It's just, it's not just us. It's the cost of milk went up, the cost of bread went up. I wish we could just drop the taxes, but to stay it's coming to the point, and Sean was partially right. What's gonna happen is, we're gonna either make it with the revenue we're bringing in, or we're gonna cut services. That's what's coming.
What's on the chopping block? I mean, we
What's
keep
that-
hearing
that-
about,
that's
like, raising
that's
potential taxes.
that's us sitting down and very looking at it very seriously and figuring which we can live with, what we could live without, and what you're not gonna receive anymore as a service from the city. You might not get garbage every week. You might get, I mean, there's a lot of things. I can't say that.
Right.
But we have to look at it intelligently and make some intelligent cuts when it comes to that. But the sky is not always falling.
Oh, I understand, but would it make more sense to remove
Oh,
the tool from
absolutely.
the toolbox?
Right.
in order to perhaps use other tools rather than, because if it's there.
I agree.
if you have an easy
I agree.
way, You can just raise taxes, bring in more money.
The council will make that decision as we move to the next meeting, within the next 2 meetings, and you will be alerted when that meeting is.
Thank you.
Yes. Sir, come on up, please.
First, I'd like to thank all of you for what you do. It's appreciated. You know, it's a lot of hard work. But on the other side of it, I live at, I'm sorry, Mike Crisanti, 75 Niagara Shore Drive. You guys have raised my taxes through reassessment, something fierce. I pay over $740 more this year than I did last year. That's absurd. I have to live within my budget. If I can't, I have to find other ways to make money to be able to do that. We expect nothing more than the same from you people.
I agree.
Somebody brought up Main Street with all the non-for-profits. There are more non-for-profits on Main Street than there are businesses. If you don't relieve those non-profits from Main Street, you will never build Main Street.
Yep. Point well taken. It's something that we are looking at. Absolutely.
As far as growth, this city, as somebody else had mentioned, has more waterfront than any other city that I'm aware of.
We do.
We have more than Buffalo.
We do, but if I want to, let's say, build apartments on a quarter of that waterfront, I've got to take that waterfront, which is considered parkland, and replace it and put with something else and not build on that. I don't have no other to swap it with. That's the state.
They have ways to make revenue from that water.
Oh, I will, but the state I won't allow me to do that.
Not by building on it.
Right.
By, I mean, there are more non-residents on that waterfront.
Oh,
than there are residents.
believe me, yes.
So maybe something needs to be done about that. I don't
Okay,
know what the law.
parking, charging, not for city residents, maybe for other residents, but there's a lot of other things we're looking at. Yeah. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
And again, I thank all of you. Please do something.
Thank you.
I do not believe in your tax cap plus.
Okay. That's what this meeting's about.
I mean, it's any tool I've ever put in my toolbox, I've used. And I would expect you would as well.
Okay, thank you. I've got 2 people online. Lynn, please let the first person speak.
Okay.
Ma'am, sir, just state your name and address.
Go ahead.
Lindsay, 203 Rogers Ave. So there's been a lot of talk about growth of opportunities, and as someone who has lived here for over 10 years, been involved, not involved, watched from afar, speaks my mind. There's a lot of missed opportunities. So if you look at North Tonawanda's downtown development and their LDC, they got their seed money from foreclosures. There's foreclosures in our city that are hundreds of $1,000s. That's money, and I get it, no one wants to be a bad guy, but there's money that's been sitting there for years that could essentially offset some things. We also look at how the senior center, I was part of that committee to help reopen it. In 2001, the senior center reopened after COVID, and we had discussed about looking for other locations for the center in order to free up that location on Main Street. As far as I know, I don't see anything happening with that. Riverview probably would have been a great opportunity for us to have looked into that. And again, I'm curious about the DRI with the rezoning. I had asked this when the DRI process first started because I had a submission. Has the rezoning been finished? Because that obviously does affect how Main Street is going to be handled and the revenue that can come in from customer facing versus storefront. So again, I'm just for me, it's more about the missed opportunities. And I think we need to make sure moving forward that we're not missing these opportunities. Even with the reassessments, I get it. Everyone's taxes went up. We had huge hikes, but if we continue to do it the way that it's supposed to be done, no one would have these massive jumps because they were not reassessed for over 10 years or so.
I do agree, and thank you very much for your thoughts, and thank you. Next speaker, Lynn, you got one more?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, Anna Joes, 318 Broad Street.
actually, the gentleman that spoke recently touched on some points I have. So when you look at saving money so that you don't go over the tax cap, I think the comprehensive plan is very important to look at. You know, you talk about getting this money to spend. We talk about raising the amount of money, but the problem is there can't be an indiscriminate allowance of just any old business in. You have to really look and say to yourself, is this a place that I would drive an hour away to shop at? And I agree about the nonprofits. I don't know if this is true. I can only go by Facebook comments, but take, for example, Greenlight. I think that's wonderful that Sean's brought Greenlight in, but if the comment I read is true, it's going to house itself in, I think, the old American Legion. Is that a nonprofit building that is now being appropriated to a for-profit business instead of giving us the opportunity to remove this nonprofit land from that nonprofit status and put it on the tax rolls? Again, I don't know if that's true. I would like to know.
The old American Legion is privately owned now.
Okay, that's good to know. So what I'm saying is that wherever there's an opportunity to remove nonprofit status, I think that needs to be done. What I see is, in an objective way, is that we've got this prime waterfront and it's being taken up by government offices. I actually do represent Auctions International. It's big business and they do surplus for this city. And you know, the comment to me is, who wants to come somewhere where they're going to go right past the police station to come visit? Okay. But the bottom line is that I am someone who enjoys the waterfront. Why have we never had any sort of indoor facility to promote health year round that isn't the high school, that isn't, you know, a limited facility? I say to myself, I've lived here since 99. I've raised 2 children, one who chose with her husband to move to Williamsville. They pay taxes at about the same as mine. And I drive out of this city to go to the store because Tops doesn't maintain a good standard. This goes to the comprehensive plan. Why do we keep giving space to Tops? I mean, like, is there a way to put a better anchor store that somebody would actually want to drive to visit? Why, you know, our businesses on Main Street, no offense to the vape shops, no offense to the tattoo parlors, no offense to the pizzerias, but in Wales and East Aurora, you can't even open a business without a special use permit process and looking at the comprehensive plan to say, gee, do we really have too many of these in this small square mile space? You're actually lowering the value, not you personally, Mayor, but this city, since I've lived here, has lowered the quality rating of coming here because of the choices that are made. Like, we're so desperate, we'll take anyone who's willing to open a business. If you want to elevate the status of this city and bring more money in and increase our tax base, make it a place that someone like me, who raised 2 kids, felt like, who wants to shop on Main Street. Like, how often am I gonna, I don't have a tattoo, how often am I gonna run to pick up a tattoo or a vape? Or is it really healthy in this walkable city to be eating pizza all the time and just bringing in fast food? That's just my thought on it.
We do have a comp plan in place. We do have a committee that we work with, the comprehensive plan, to work on. My goal is to get we got a tree service on our Main Street in the city of Tonawanda. I mean, these are the things that we got change. And it's a process. I wish I could do it overnight, but it's not something that we can do it that way. But thank you. Anybody else online? We're pretty much at the end of the night. Sir, you were first.
I have nobody else online.
All right. One more, sir. Go ahead.
Make it really,
Sure, we got enough for one more after you.
again, White Crisanti, 75 Niagara Shore Drive. I'm gonna say a word that you're all gonna hate. Consolidate. And we talked to the other towns about consolidation.
Yeah, absolutely. And shared services all the time. Yes, we do.
So
We
you're
do.
working on that.
There's a lot of things. We can't do it with North Tonawanda because it's Niagara County versus Erie County. It just can't happen. But we're looking at a lot of things, but absolutely, it's not something that we're negative to looking into.
Thank you.
Yep. One more, sir, or ma'am, you were back there?
Yeah.
that mic over there.
Yeah, there's a lot the city could do to raise money.
Just
because-
state your name and address for the record.
Get 73 Fletcher Street, Tonawanda, New York. Because in all the time I've lived here in almost 10 years, I've only gone to Main Street twice. It's not a really big thing. People don't really want to go there. But there's a lot of other things the city could do to raise revenue. They could rent bicycles at the river. They could have tennis rackets, tennis balls. They could have baseballs, baseball bats, baseball gloves. You know, go outside, go do something. And there's a lot of other parts of the city that don't really get, there's a lot of space on Delaware. And there's a lot of other streets, and if you're only looking at renovating the one street, you're missing all the others.
All right, well, thank you very much. I think we're at the end. I gotta do it 3 times, but there's any other comments? Sir?
The communities.
We just need your name and address for the record.
Same person, Michael Blower, 27 Boat. The communities. They don't want hotels and they don't want lease apartment buildings where if they're not full, how are they gonna fill it? Section 8? Yeah. And they're gonna bring all kinds of people in and out of the neighborhood that the neighborhood doesn't want. And the same with a hotel. The neighborhoods don't want that. You're destroying neighborhoods by doing that. And you can't argue because you are.
There's one more. I said it. Any other questions? What, you were there last one, sir?
Urban Diaz at 156 Delaware Street. I just think that there's something to be said about kind of school and school bell, but also the fiduciary kind of discrepancy of 4% increase raises the department heads. And so the discrepancy, I think, is what tool are you actually using in terms of revenue? So your 2 weeks ago spending were non-negotiated 4% department head raise. And then coming here tonight to say we need to actually tax you all additionally in terms of the budgetary component. And so I just think that there's this kind of
No,
discrepancy.
I understand. Yep.
Of giving 4% non-negotiated raises to department heads, which I'm a big proponent of fair livable wage. But the discrepancy that potentially seems to be happening across the council on how money is being spent and who money is being passed on.
Look, I just want to say thank you to everybody. You know what? We need this input. And the reason why we asked your name and address clear, because it's recorded by our clerk and it can be heard and we can listen and go over this again from the council standpoint of view. Just, it's important. I thank everybody for coming tonight. Again, your input is very valuable and thank you. Like I said, I love the city. Everybody in the council up here loves the city too. We don't want to see it fail. And we don't know everything, but we love input. So your input is important and we'll listen to it. I'm going to do it one more time.
As a
Mayor?
taxpayer. The council doesn't get to talk. I'm a taxpayer. I'm talking. You want, I'm gonna give you the alarm, set my alarm. I want my 3 minutes.
Get your 3 minutes.
There you go. Chris Fisher, 413 Main Street. I'm just gonna, I have 3 minutes. I'm gonna go quick. Address the comments, school tax and budget, that's school board. Downtown NT side versus our side, the council approves variances and rezoning. We don't do the day-to-day, we don't negotiate who comes in. It's mayor's day-to-day operation. Is it common to go over the tax cap? Yes, look around you. Ever heard no more 11.4? That's a common one around Google and the Buffalo News. Taxes never go down. Twice I keep kicking the can down the road. We gotta take it out of the general fund, do it. But we get a compounded tax increase, it's just gonna keep going up. And consolidate, there's 3 cities. Us, Buffalo, and Lackawanna, and Erie County. So consolidation, when I don't think we're gonna give up our city charter. The mayor can only propose a budget. The mayor cannot force the council to accept it or pass it. We can vote no, we can send that budget back to the mayor. We didn't have to do it on the last budget because the mayor found the money and he balanced the budget. We stayed under the tax cap. At least I was on the council 1 year, so I can't speak before that. Looking forward, if they want to buy helicopters, they want to buy whatever, fine. Stay under the tax cap. If we can't stay under the tax cap, cut spending. There are places to cut, there's extras. We didn't get there this year because we had a budget that found the funding. This year, will we have enough in the general fund to cover it? I don't know. But if not, what are we gonna do? Raise income? or raise taxes, bring in sales tax income, what are we gonna do to balance that? I will tell you this, I pay what you pay. That's why I'm up here. That's why I had to give my name and address, just like you guys are speaking. I will continue to vote no. I am always a no on the override tax cap. I'm no on a budget that would pass a tax increase onto you guys. We have a grant writer. Grant writer's looking for grants. There are ways that we can do this. We just gotta keep working on it. So how did we get here? The original vote to override the tax cap that brought us to the public hearing passed 4-1. I was the only no vote. If your only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, all your problems are nailed. If the only tool in our toolbox is a tax cap override, then all we're looking at is a budget of 6, 10, 12%. I don't know. Look at the other towns. No more 11.4. How did they get there? Tax cap override. Starting with tax cap override. Call your elected officials. Tell them how you feel. Thank you.
There's one more comment, virtually. Go
Yes.
ahead, Lynn.
Okay,
State their name and address.
go ahead, Josh.
Hi, it's actually Suzanne Weber and I live at 174 Morgan Street. I just have a question. It was brought to my attention a couple times that there are actually properties within the city that have not been paying taxes for some years. I was just wondering what that total amount is and if that is something that would help in lowering anything. I do appreciate what everyone does. I know it's really hard to be up there and I know it's really hard to talk to the city with everyone getting so much different information. I also would like to point out that the DRI thing I've heard lots of times tonight, and I know we're talking about adding like apartments and things like that. I'm not sure that I've ever heard of an area that has apartmented itself into prosperity. And we talk about if we do add more apartments, then in downtown, that it would bring more people in, the businesses would come in, but I'm just wondering what the rest of the city, we got a lot of people in the city, why adding apartments would bring businesses in. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Just really quick to answer the first question, and we do have foreclosures that we are working on now. In fact, the attorneys got it together with, in fact, I believe the first ones are going out, or if not, went out. So there is a sum, well over $1 million in back taxes that we are turning into foreclosures. We don't want to do that. I'm a people person. I don't want to hurt somebody that way, but if they're not paying the taxes, you're paying yours, I'm paying mine. So what we're going to do is we are sending the foreclosures out. So it's something we have to do. I have empathy for those people. I'm sure there's a lot of good reasons why they haven't paid them, but it's going to turn into revenue for us. And that's what we're doing. It's money owed. So that is being done. I think that's about it for tonight. I got one last one. Last one. Yes, you.
So our deputy city clerk can't hear you. If you can approach the microphone.
Sorry about that.
Real quick. So Rachel Carson, 184 Utica Street, Tonawanda. My question is what is the rush for you voting on this, I guess, in the next couple of weeks? Because that's what you said you were going to vote on in the next couple of weeks. Am I correct in hearing? Because I've been listening a lot tonight. So is there, why is
there's no deadline. It's just that everybody does it in January because you want to get it done and know that you have that available as the year progresses.
Can it be tabled for a little while?
It can be tabled. It can be tabled.
Meetings,
Yep.
or I really think that we need to look at other things. I think we need to look at more I do believe in some consolidation.
Yep.
I love our police, I love our fire, I love everything, but I think we pay a lot of money.
We
for
combine
this.
Parks and Recreation together, and we're doing the best we can. Doing it all at once is not a good thing. We want to keep some consistency also. So we are looking at and doing some consolidation as we speak.
So overall, you're probably gonna vote on this in the next couple of weeks. You don't think you're gonna take it?
I don't know. Adam, is there a reason, Adam, our treasurer?
I can answer this.
Go ahead.
So first of all, this is the council vote. The mayor has no vote in this, okay? The council at any point can put forward a resolution. There's a process delineated by the state that requires us to have a public hearing, okay? Following the public hearing, I'm sure the council will get together, review the feedback, but at any point, a council member can put forward a resolution overriding the tax cap. At some point, during this process, it doesn't have to happen at the next meeting, doesn't happen to have another meeting, but at some point during this year, the council can override the tax cap.
And what is the top percentage that you guys would vote for? Like, is it 3%, 15%? It's just whatever? Is that how it goes?
So the mayor would present a budget to the common council after he meets with each of the department heads. You know, I'm not gonna speak on behalf of the council, but at some point, at any point, we can bring forward a resolution to override the tax cap. You know, you've heard this statement many times tonight. It's a tool in the toolbox. We don't know what the department heads are going to present to the mayor as far as the budget, and we certainly don't have concrete, we have forecasts of what 2026 would look like, but nothing definitive.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the common council will be meeting in the back
All right. Thank you.
to adjourn.
To adjourn.
You have to close the public hearing.
Oh.
They just say the public.
The public hearing is now closed.
I know, that's why.
Yes.
Mayor White, thank you so much for speaking with all of us. Tyler Stevenson, I own Hello Sweets Candy and Pop Shop. Benderson too, and I know that they are really